Hi, my name is Mrs. De Hoyos, and in this video, the story of the week is Elena by Sandra Cisneros. First, we will listen to the summary and go over some vocabulary words. Then we will understand and apply the skill of the week.
She describes getting older as the layers of a tree trunk, with each year added to the previous one. However, this morning, Rachel wishes she was even older, because she believes that she would know how to stand up for herself when her math teacher, Mrs. Price, insists that an ugly red sweater is hers. As the class watches, Rachel is sick with embarrassment, but dons the ugly sweater anyways. Soon thereafter, Rachel breaks down in tears, which leads a classmate to admit that the sweater belongs to her. The story ends with Rachel thinking about the birthday party she will have that evening. She imagines her family will be happy, but she feels that the day is ruined. She wishes she was 102 years old, because she thinks being 11 is not what she thought it would be.
So now that you've heard the summary, let's look at some vocabulary words. As I say the vocabulary word, repeat after me so that you can practice how to pronounce it. I will then give you the definition and use it in a sentence. Number 1, raggedy, meaning in shabby condition. Sample sentence: my mom makes pillows out of raggedy t-shirts I no longer wear. Number 2, alley, a narrow street or area located behind buildings. Sample sentence: Kelly carried the garbage can into the alley behind her house. Number 3, nonsense, meaning silly behavior. Sample sentence: my sister thinks it's nonsense that people are willing to spend thousands of dollars for tickets to the Super Bowl. Number 4, germs, meaning very small living things that cause sickness. Sample sentence: washing your hands with soap and water is effective against cold-causing germs. Number 5, invisible, unable to be seen. Sample sentence: in the pitch-dark yard, the black wolf was invisible except for his glowing yellow eyes. Now let's take a look at the first skill of this week. It is text-dependent responses. Do you know what that is? Let's take a look. Text-dependent responses are answers to questions that require proof from the text. I like to use the ABE strategy because it guides you through every step of your answer, and it even gives you sentence starters to create your answer. I will show you an example. Let's say, for example, you get a question like this one. According to the text, how does Rachel feel about the sweater? By stating in the question, according to the text, you know you will have to provide proof from the text. Remember, Rachel is the narrator in this story. I will then use a sentence starter provided under proof from the text. I chose using information from the text. I know that Rachel does not like that sweater at all. Now we have to look for proof in the text. Where did we find this information? How do we know that Rachel doesn't like that sweater? Let's find out. How do we know how a character feels? Let's take a look at paragraph 8. The narrator says in sentence 2, it's an ugly sweater with red plastic buttons and a collar and sleeves all stretched out like you could use it for a jump rope. It's maybe 1,000 years old, and even if it belonged to me, I wouldn't say so. With the words ugly, all stretched out, and old, you can tell that the narrator, which is Rachel, does not like this sweater. I elaborated in my answer by using one of the sentence starters. One reason I think this is because in paragraph 8 it says that Rachel thinks the sweater is old, ugly, and all stretched out. The next skill that we're going to be going over is interpreting text. Interpreting is a process of determining and explaining the meaning or main idea or message of a work of literature. Readers can increase their understanding and appreciation of a literary work by discussing and writing about explicit and implicit meaning. Explicit meaning is stated clearly and in detail, leaving no room for confusion or doubt. Implicit meaning is implied, though not plainly expressed. To determine implicit meanings, readers analyze or examine the different parts of a story, such as thoughts and actions of a character and the events and resolution of a plot. If we look at paragraph 20, this is the second time Rachel has called one of her classmates stupid. I'm not sure she really feels this way. It's clear that Rachel is upset. So maybe lashing out is the author's way of showing just how upset she really is. Let's take a look at figurative language. Figurative language is found in step 3 of author's craft. A question that can be considered for figurative language is, did the author use any figurative language to convey a message? If so, why did they use it? Some elements for figurative language are metaphor, simile, personification, imagery, extended metaphor, hyperbole, or any of the 4 sound devices. Paragraph 3 says, because the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, or like the rings inside a tree trunk, or like my little wooden dolls that fit one inside the other, each year inside the next one. That's how being 11 years old is. The narrator uses similes when she compares aging to everyday things. When I picture onions, tree trunks, and wooden dolls, I notice that they all have layers. She must mean that when you age, you keep getting more layers. Now that you learned about figurative language, interpreting text, and text-dependent responses, let's apply it to the story of the week.